am I the asshole for what I said? My family won't let me share any good news because of my sister's disability. Oh, all right. I, 26F, have an older sister, 32F, who had a tragic accident 3 years ago that left her paralyzed from the waist down. It's been rough for everyone, but especially for her, of course. That adds up. Our family rallied around her, helping out as much as we can, and I've been there every step of the way because I love her so much. But since the accident, it feels like I don't deserve to have any good things happen to me, or at least I'm not allowed to talk about them. Every time something positive happens in my life, I get shut down by my family. When I got a promotion at work last year, I was so happy and excited to tell them. I thought my family would be happy for me, but when I tried to share the news, my mom pulled me aside and told me not now because my sister had a tough day. I ended up keeping it to myself. Hold on. You say she got in an accident, and, hey, that sucks, obviously. Of course. You acknowledge that. Really rough for her. This is a multi-year thing because you said you got a promotion at work last year, and you went to bring it up, and they shut it down because your sister had a rough day. Oh no, this is over such a long period of time, man. I already have a feeling you're not the asshole because at a certain point, it's like, hey, don't come in and say you won $1 million. I was paralyzed in a car crash or something. But like a year later, you're no longer allowed to share any. I don't know. Maybe something crazy happened that day. 8 months ago, my boyfriend proposed. When I told them, my mom immediately changed the subject, later telling me that my sister was feeling down about her own marriage struggles. It's like anything good in my life is an offense to my sister's situation. Oh God, man, I hate when people do this. I really do. It sucks, but like, I don't know. As someone that grew up the way that I did in the struggle that I had, there's nothing more. I don't want to say like when people get into like struggle arguments over who had the most struggle, because obviously she went through a lot. She's paralyzed from the waist down. But once it reaches a point where it's like everything you do it gets dragged down because it's like, well, nothing's good for me ever. It's like I don't really want to be around you. And I know that's a really harsh thing to hear, but you got to be careful about the company you keep. You really do. You can't always be around somebody that's negative 24/7. And if they are negative 24/7, there has to be a lot of love there, and there has to be like a lot of understanding, because there's going to have to be patience, because there is potential that that person that's very negative could turn, but you also have to, understand that if they're going to make that change, they have to want it themselves. So it's a process, but when everything is brought down by this, I don't know. This happened a few days ago. I've been saving up for years to buy my first new car. I finally managed to do it and was so excited. I thought my family would be happy for me, so I decided to tell them. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, the room went dead silent. My mom whispered to me, "This isn't the time. Think about your sister." My sister looked so sad, and I instantly felt like the worst person in the world. What? So, like, how long ago did this happen? Like a year later, you're like bringing it up, and it's like your sister's sad today. You can't have a thing. Like you're no longer allowed to have any good feelings because your sister has bad feelings all the time. And don't get me wrong, like I said, man, your sister went through some stuff, but I'm a firm believer in that. Like that doesn't mean that everyone else has to. Oh man, I remember this one time. It was a game I was playing, and this dude was talking mad trash. And I finally responded and was just like, I put the dude in his place. But then at the end of the game, his friend told me, by the way, he only has one hand. And I was like, are you telling me that to make me feel bad? Because he was an asshole to me. You know what I mean? And this feels like a different situation because the sister is just sad. But in that particular, I'm trying to explain. In that particular situation, I have this dude who's just being an asshole to me. And when I respond, all of a sudden he gets quiet, and then his friend goes, he only has one hand. It's like, none of what I said has to do with his hand. I didn't know he only had one hand. That's why I didn't say anything about it, okay? Nothing I said has anything to do with that. What I did say was that he was an asshole, and he was an asshole. But I don't know. They tried to play it off like no, you don't understand. You're not allowed to say he's an asshole when he's an asshole because he lost his hand. And it's like, my guy, I don't know what to fucking tell you. It goes back to like the way that I grew up. Just because I grew up struggling, that doesn't give me like a natural, like, I can't just walk into every conversation and be like, hey, you can't really get mad at me for being this type of person. You know, I grew up in poverty, you know? Hey, be lucky I'm not a criminal. Be lucky I didn't rob you. It doesn't make any sense. You still have to conduct yourself and function in the world. I don't know. But she's paralyzed below the waist, so it's hard to be judgmental of her. I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I said, can't I share anything good in my life? I thought you'd all be happy for me. No one knew what to say, and I left the house. I've never done that before, and now I'm filled with regret and confusion. I love my sister, and I never want to hurt her, but it feels like I'm not allowed to have anything good happen to me. I'm getting to the point where I feel like I'm walking on eggshells all the time. I understand my sister's life has changed drastically, and I'm genuinely supportive, and I've always been there for her. But sometimes I just want to be able to share my own life too. I feel so guilty for even feeling this way, like I'm being selfish or inconsiderate. You're not. I don't think you are. I don't think just because good things happen to you that you can't. I don't know, man. You have to feel bad about the good things that happen to you because I don't know. It's crazy to me, you know. Because at the end of the day, there's always starving children. There's always someone that has it worse than me. You know. Imagine if any time I was like, oh man, I had a really good day today. You know, I went to the gym. I had like one of my favorite. I went to one of my favorite restaurants for lunch, and you know, now I'm at home and I feel pretty good. And they were like, "Well, okay, cool for you. Kids died today. Did you know that? Kids died from starvation." I'd be like, "Okay, you can get out of my house," because like, you know, I get it. The world is a fucking crazy. It's a crazy place, but like, it can't. You can't be thinking it. It can't just. You can't always be in a state of like everything's bad. Everything's bad. There's starving children. Everything. You just can't. Because how the fuck do you function? And this is coming from somebody that's dealt with depression. Okay, you can't do that. You can't hang out with, especially if you had depression. You cannot. You cannot be around people like that because you will just get stuck. You will get stuck, dude. But that's just personal. That's anecdotal. You know, I am not a professional. I'm just saying, be careful about who you keep close to you, even when it's family. You know, I'm not saying you have to completely keep them out, but at a certain point, if it's like every time I'm around you, it's a negative experience. You know, I'm going to spend less time around you. Her husband and even my parents share things about their lives freely, and no one seems to mind. But as the younger sister, I'm not. As the younger sister, I'm not allowed to share anything good in front of her, so I don't hurt her feelings. I get it. I really do. I understand she's going through a lot, and I don't want to add to her pain, but it feels I'm not allowed to have any joy in my life around my family. So anyone else can share things? Her husband and the parents can share about how their lives are so cool, but you can't just because you're the younger sister and she's the older sister? I don't know. Now, I know I owe my sister an apology for how I reacted. I don't know, man. I would want to know what your sister actually genuinely thinks about this because it just feels like your parents keep speaking up on it. I never want to make her feel sad, but I'm struggling with how to approach my family. I feel like I should apologize to them, and honestly, I don't think I'll be sharing anything with them in the future. I mean, yeah, it's just gonna ruin communication like crazy. Like this miscommunication is gonna be crazy in the family. Not the asshole at all. I'm curious, how does your sister feel about all this? Is she genuinely hurt whenever you share these positive things, or is your mom just being overprotective and jumping the gun? Has there always been this kind of dynamic between you and your sister? My sister never says anything. It's always my mom who jumps in to tell me, all followed by reasons why. My sister did look sad when I told them about my new car. I'm wondering if the tragic accident happened in a car. I don't know. But she didn't say anything. Whenever I try to discuss things with my sister, my parents tell me to not, saying it might complicate things and I might end up hurting her feelings even more. She's always been the confident one, saying whatever she wants whenever she feels like it. I've had to work on myself over the years to start expressing myself better, but things have gotten worse since the accident. Now I can't say anything. That is so weird. She might have looked sad because she's tired of your mother doing this. Either way, you're entitled to have a life and celebrate good things. I'll be the cynic and just say, she also might have looked sad because she was playing her part. Ooh, it's hella odd that only the little sister can't share her accomplishments in life. Makes me wonder, was big sis an overachiever? Dynamic is off. I mean, I'm not going to assume anything on that front, but that would be wild. Like you can no longer flex on your little sister, so now you have to just prevent your little sister from being able to flex on you. No need to apologize. This is a lot of caps, man. I want to see somebody that calls you an asshole update me. Why do you keep expecting a different response other than the one you consistently receive from them? I don't know. Probably like she's asking if maybe there's nothing. Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. If this is happening to you consistently and you're like, I'm a little confused here because I feel like I'm not really being an asshole. I just want to share this. It makes sense for you. You know, not everyone is like decisive as me. Like if I was in this situation, I'd be like, man, fuck you. I can't have anything. I'm not allowed to have anything because of this. I can't talk about how cool life is sometimes. Jesus. Has anyone asked your sister where she is on all this? This is a post that's been floating around for a while. I remember reading this practically verbatim, except the sister had cancer. Uh-oh. Well, I mean, this is probably a very common thing. This probably happens relatively often. Not the asshole, where kids' spinal injuries, they're not handling this well, get the shock, sadness, stages of grief over in a year. After that, move on, including no one walking on tiptoes around the crib. Around the crib? Yes, when you can say, get out of my way, crip, and they reply, you look like shit today. Wait, what? Okay. I don't know. You got a lot going on there. This is a lot. I feel like I don't need to, in the year 2081, the Constitution dictates that Americans are fully equal and not allowed to be smarter. Okay, you're about to get into... I get Golden Child vibes from this post, the part where OP states her family and her sister's husbands can share, but not OP tells me there are different rules for different people. True. I mean, I agree with that. That sentence caught me off guard when they brought up like that the husband and the parents, they're allowed to bring up good things that happen to them. It's like, why is it only good things happening to the sister? That's a problem. I don't know. Probably the only one, but you're the asshole. Here's why. The situation you described reminds me of the quote, slightly modified. I've tried nothing and I'm all out of ideas. So you know your mom and potentially your sister has a hard time with or is sensitive to your big life accomplishments, milestones. So what have you done to mitigate this? From your story, nothing. Here are some potential strategies you could have employed. Talking to your sister. How does she feel? Well, apparently you shouldn't talk to your sister because if you ever talk to your sister about anything, she starts to get upset. Telling people individually or in small groups. Why does every announcement need to be in a big group chat that includes sis? In my 48 years of life, I've never made it. Probably because sis needs to be monitored. Giving sis personal advance heads up regarding your announcement. Talk to her. Tell mom prior to the announcement. You're an adult. Can try a different approach. I'm not sure why you're being downvoted. Yours is genuinely the most realistic response I've seen. OP as an adult. Oh my god, they're all adults. My thoughts exactly. Why am I being downvoted? Probably because while all my advice is reasonable and OP should have done more to mitigate the situation, most probably don't think that it rises to the level of making her an asshole. Not the asshole may have been a fair judgment. But the thought of OP lashing out of her family is not... I'm going to tell you why you're getting downvoted. I don't know why people get asked this. It's because in this particular subreddit where you posted a comment, it's because people disagree with you. You do this thing like, how could people disagree with me in this moment? Why am I... Reddit? Oh, this is such a Reddit moment, me getting downvoted here. No, you posted an opinion on a subreddit somewhere, and people don't think that your opinion is correct on the situation, or maybe they do think parts of it are correct, but overall they don't really think it, or maybe they just read the "you're the asshole" at the top. And that's life. I don't know why the fuck I read these comments. People are like, oh, I don't understand why I'm getting down. I don't understand why you're getting downvotes. It's because you and him are like the only people that seem to think that this is the most genuine advice here, and everyone else probably agrees with the not the asshole. You're allowed to enjoy things in life. It's fine. You know? But whatever. I've had a real attitude today, man. I'm telling you. I've not been getting good sleep. I've not been getting that quality sleep. Not the asshole. I think it's time for you to move out and get friends. They probably don't. I don't understand. Aren't you going to be taking your sister's places in your car? Won't she be at or in the wedding? Maybe it's the delivery. Maybe you aren't including her. I have a feeling it's not the delivery. I have a feeling they just don't want you. Why do you have to share in front of your paralyzed sister, though? Why can't she? So tell your parents these things privately and not in front of your sister. If it's... I see I'm going to be the lone wolf in the comments, but why do you need to tell everyone about your good news if it's difficult for your sister? You can tell your family these things on an individual basis so your sister doesn't have to hear you directly talking about it yourself. Shut your effing pie hole, will ya? I would love to run into you in person. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I read comments from people and I'm like, I would love for you to tell me to shut up in a particular situation because I'm going to yap. Maybe because OP's entire life didn't end with her sister's accident. Everyone can share positive news, but OP from 23 on can't. That's insane. That's another... Yeah, I get it and I agree with you. It's just about easing into the good news bulletins over time. I just have a lot of sympathy for the sister because it's got to be nearly impossible to come to terms with. Apparently not, because she can deal with it when the parents or her husband are talking about all the great things that they're doing, but the sister is where they draw the line. Shut your effing pie hole. I would love to be told shut your effing pie hole by another grown adult. I don't know. I feel like I'd punch you in the throat. Huh. I'm grumpy today. I think you're the asshole. These two examples relate directly to the issues your sister is dealing with and directly with some pretty devastating trauma. She had an accident that left her paralyzed. Hey, everyone, I just bought a new car. Yay me. Her marriage is crumbling, likely due to the massive life changes and care she needs to change dynamic of her marriage. Hey, everyone, I'm getting married. There has to be a tactful and sensitive way to reference things in your life without causing your family. Yeah, but like the accident happened a long time ago. And the work, where does the work promotion tie into this? Like, at what point you're no longer allowed to be like, oh, I finally got a new car. It could be 10 years down the road. You're like, whew, finally got a new car. And mom would be like, whoa, don't you know your sister's sad today? I need to know the time frame because this is 8 months ago. You got a promotion last year. You weren't allowed to talk about it. A few days ago, you talked about the first car. So it's obvious 8 months ago, she was still whatever. You brought up the new car. 8 months later, there was a work promotion the year before. I don't know if, I don't know. I don't know. It just kind of seems to me like you, you just want like a constant state of like nobody can ever have anything. Well, not nobody, just my little sister. She's not allowed to have anything nice. You're not the asshole here. And neither is your sister for being handicapped. I think your mom's got some weird stuff going on. I don't know. Talk to your sister.